so how to pass your CXC exams in 2026, right? So that's basically what we're going to be talking about right now, right? So what I heard is that maybe in the future CXC will be basically changing the way how they do the papers. I don't know how true it is, yes or no, but I heard that they might be changing their papers like in the future, right? So basically it's just to keep up the validity of the exam and whatever. But yeah, because obviously if everybody have access to the past papers, then it will kind of lose its validity if it just like, oh, I look at exam, everybody can use past papers, right? But so we'll see what happens in the future. But for right now, since them don't release anything saying this is going to take effect right now, we're going with what we know so far, right? So basically, if CXC does not change the way they've been doing things, as in from I don't even know which year, if we say from 2020, not from 2020, because everybody know that 2020 was the year that it was all MCQ, but let's just say like maybe 2022, 23, 24, and obviously 2025 that just went by this year, right? And this past CXC exam period or whatever you want to call it, a lot of people failed maths, and that is nothing new because this has been happening almost every year where the pass mark from maths just horrible, just very horrible, not just in Jamaica but in the entire Caribbean, right? So yep, so how you're going to approach it, or what strategy I would basically give going into this is, one, start preparing early. So that's the first thing. So instead of waiting last minute until May next year, start preparing from right now. And basically it means just actively reading, actively learning throughout the school year, like as in from grade 10, from grade 11 you should have been actively paying attention, meaning you might not know the stuff word for word, but at least you pay attention to say, all right, we kind of know my teacher talk about, me hear them say something like this, right? So it's not about you knowing it word for word, because that not gonna happen, right? But it's more of you understanding, if that makes sense. And if you understand it, and let's just say you're going to the exam, and let's just say you don't have the word for word definition ready to give, but you know what it is, you can formulate and come up with your own definition, right, in that situation. So obviously actively learning throughout the school year, throughout grade 10, throughout grade 11, paying attention, right? So it can't be that you just scroll out to like grade 10 and scroll out to like grade 11, and then it's like all of a sudden when it's exam literally 1 month away, you decide to get serious, and you realize them really waste almost 2 years now to nothing, and you try and make up for 2 years in 1 month, and that don't make no sense, right? So obviously actively learning, actively preparing from beforehand, so you don't wait until last minute. And what would I say, following the syllabus. So this is an important thing, and back when I do my exams, the syllabus was a very big thing, because I feel like some people just wait, or them just think or expect that the teacher is going to cover everything in the syllabus, right? And me get the biggest shock of my life when me don't know the syllabus, and me looking at the syllabus, I'm saying, wait, my exam soon come up, and one entire section of the syllabus the teacher never touch, right? And me think that did happen when we did do social studies, right? Because there was like the last part right there, we never really go as in depth as so we did need to go in depth on it, right? Let's just say that. So when you follow the syllabus, you really can say, all right, if it's like, okay, you have 3 months left, and especially if you hear a teacher talk, because most teachers, then we talk to them more to say, we're not going to finish the syllabus, because remember me in grade 11, that's all me here, we're not going to finish the syllabus, and we are rushed to try to finish syllabus, right? And the truth is that most high schools, the time that them give for like even the science subjects, the labs, the time is not enough for them give allocate for labs, the time not enough, just different things basically. But it's true that you have the syllabus, so you will follow along on the syllabus, you know exactly what you're supposed to do. Past papers, they're a big thing. Me start off by saying that CXC might be changing that, right? So as of right now, I don't think them change it, but basically they might be changing how they do their papers in the future, because obviously now everybody have past papers them, right? everywhere have the past paper, everybody know this, everybody, you know what I mean? So like just to keep up their credibility as an exam body, that kind of make sense to do that eventually, right? Maybe every 10 years, I don't know how them do it, but yeah. But for right now, the past papers will still work, right? It will still work. It will allow you to see how the exam is set up basically. The paper ones do repeat a lot, so just practicing the MCQs, seeing the answer, and that is a big thing right now on YouTube. Everybody have a channel, every teacher have a channel that show your past papers and stuff like that, so that shouldn't be too hard to find. Then for the paper 2s, it shows you the outline, or basically what to expect on the exam. It will not be the exact same thing on the paper 2. That will never happen. So if you go look on a past paper and think, say, oh my god, study answers for these questions on this paper 2, that not gonna happen. Maybe something similar relating to a topic will show up, but that the exact thing not going to come back on our paper 2. It don't work like that, right? So the syllabus is a big part, active learning is a big part of it, and obviously the past papers, those are also a big part of all of this, right? Now what else do you need? So basically the SBA process. So what you need to do is start doing the SBA very early. Also try and finish the SBA very early, because you don't want it to be a case where you try the exam and you try to study for 9-10 subjects and you still have SBA have to deal with, and I say, oh, I'm going to do them SBA, I have all of this work to do and blah blah blah. So you really don't want everything to just drop down on you like that, because you're gonna have some serious problem when everything due one time. You're not gonna have enough time to prepare for the exam. And I think usually high schools give like a study week to CXC students. I think maybe get one study week. I don't even remember, what I think you get a study week when you do your CXC exams or something like that. So yeah, so usually you get like a study week or something, so you should utilize that study week and basically do what you need to do, right? Maybe definitely get a study week where you just never go to school, you stay at home and study or whatever, and then you pop up the exam the Monday basically, right? So that was a big thing. What else am I missing? Yep, so also, as I said before, the whole active learning thing, ensure you actually take notes for yourself, because that helps a lot when you actually write. As I said before, you're not going to remember it word for word, but because you write it before, or because you did actually take notes, you're going to say, no, I know something like this, right? So you have an idea. And also textbooks. Textbooks are a big thing also. My school did have a book room, and at the start of every school year, they used to rent us textbook, right? And then like we think we buy a physics textbook, and we think a home economics textbook or something like me not buy 2 textbooks, right? But yeah, so if your school has a book room, rent the book. If they don't have a book room and you have to buy the book, then you have to go to buy the book if you really need it. And it goes back to a point that I want to make. So basically, when I was in grade 11 and when I do physics, and physics was my worst subject, like whenever I learned nothing in physics, and basically me just know, say, if me continue with the teacher that I had, me just know me never pass the physics, right? Because basically this was a perfect example of, like, let's just say, a gap in the education system, because when I was in grade 9, basically physics was all about current, electricity, and static electric. That's all we talk about in our grade 9, and like some local fundamental units, something like that, right? And then when we jump to grade 10, grade 11, we reach a momentum and velocity, and then all of these things just never make any sense, because it just is a big jump from just talking about static electricity or just current, and then jump into momentum and all sorts of things, right? And me just know me never that pass physics if me continue along that path, and that is why I bought a physics textbook, because me say, alright, clearly there's a gap in what I know. Grade 9 versus grade 10, grade 11, there's a gap, because how this teacher teach, not even she, because it was somebody else who teach at grade 9, but how them start off in grade 10 and grade 11 and jump the syllabus, like how you jump from where we were in grade 9 to momentum and velocity, and it was a big gap, right? And so I started, remember the textbook, the CSEC concise physics textbook, I'm sorry, let me just work with it and see if we can find my way back to where the teacher is right now. And honestly, that was what helped me in the physics exam, because honestly, me did really depend mostly on definition, right? Because my calculations are never ready. My momentum and my velocity calculations never did ready at all. But obviously, going in there, I have to know at least the basic rules. Let's just say my answer wrong, but me know the little basic rules. At least can start off how to find it. And if me get lost along the way, then I just let go. But yeah, somebody end up by that physics textbook. Basically, those are just some, I would say, general guidelines, or basically piece of my experience way back CSEC days, basically, right? So the syllabus does help, active learning does help, taking notes does help, having a textbook does help, past papers do help while they can, well they still can right now anyways. Yeah, but basically all of those things help. And if you feel like you have an issue, or you feel like you're really bad in a particular subject, you better you speak early, like from in a grade 10. You find the problem, you see the problem, identify the problem, and try to find a solution, right? So don't wait until like grade 11 or 1 month to exam and you go to the teacher and say, you know, so I have a big problem, you don't understand anything we are teach for the past 2 years. Don't wait until you reach that point. Because when I in a grade 10, I literally go to the physics teacher and tell her, so I didn't learn nothing. I just don't know what she talk about most of the time, right? Yeah. So anyways, the lab book definitely did help save me, because I'm saying, you know that that was the SBA component, the lab, so that definitely helped me somewhat. But yeah, but anyways, that's just me and physics. But the syllabus, the notes, the textbook, the past papers, the active learning, all of those stuff will help you in preparing for your exams.